What if I told you the missing links in Nev aren't just fossils waiting to be found, but ancient puzzles hidden in the Bible itself? It's a thought that rattles both scientists and theologians alike. One side calls for bones and DNA, the other for faith and scripture. But what if they've both been missing the same clue? Tonight, we're not here to choose sides. We're here to explore a possibility that shakes the foundation of both narratives. Scientists have long searched for the elusive missing links, those fossilized snapshots that connect humanity's evolutionary journey in a neat, unbroken chain. But nature, it seems, doesn't always follow straight lines. There are gaps. Big ones. Moments where species seem to leap ahead. New forms appearing with no clear ancestor. It's as if the blueprint was altered mid-construction. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because in ancient biblical texts, we find stories cryptic, poetic, yet eerily suggestive of sudden transformations, divine interventions, and beings that don't quite fit into either camp of ape or human. Take Genesis, for example. We read of Adam sculpted from dust, a metaphor, perhaps, for life rising from the earth. But there's more. The Nephilim, described as giants and sons of God, walking alongside humans, who were a genetic anomaly, early hominids with advanced traits, or something beyond biology altogether. It's almost as if these verses hint at beings that Dante neatly fit into our current evolutionary charts. Could these be textual shadows of those missing links? Science tells us evolution is a slow, grinding process. Mutations, natural selection, survival of the fittest. But humanity's leap into consciousness, into art, language, spirituality, happened remarkably fast. Could the image of God mentioned in Scripture be a poetic way of describing this sudden cognitive awakening? What if the breath of life wasn't just spiritual, but a moment when ancient humans received a spark, a genetic or neurological mutation that elevated them beyond their primitive ancestors? Not evolution or creation, but a mysterious fusion of both. Consider the biblical flood, a tale dismissed by many as myth. But in the fossil record, we see mass extinction events. Sudden, cataclysmic changes that wiped out entire species. Could the flood story be an ancient memory of a real event, passed down through generations, wrapped in allegory, yet pointing to a shared evolutionary bottleneck? A moment when the chain of life was nearly severed, only to restart, reshaped, and reborn. But perhaps the most intriguing idea is this. What if the gaps in evolution aren't scientific oversights, but narrative necessities? The Bible isn't the science textbook, and evolutionary charts don't account for spiritual experience. Yet, in their own ways, both are trying to explain the same mystery. Where did we come from? And why are we so different? The missing links may not be bones lying beneath desert sands. They might be conceptual. Moments where physical evolution intersects with moments of consciousness, morality, and purpose. Events ancient writers could only describe through divine language. Maybe, just maybe, Genesis isn't about the first human, but about the first humans who knew they were human. The first to ask, why am I here? What is good and evil? What happens after I die? Questions that no skeleton, no fossil can answer. But questions that echo through both science and scripture. It's easy to see science and faith as opposing forces. But perhaps they're two sides of the same quest. The quest to understand the gaps in our bones, in our history, in our souls. Evolution's missing links may never be found in a museum display, but they might already be whispered in ancient texts, coded in DNA, and alive in the stories we tell. The puzzle isn't missing pieces. It's waiting for a new way of seeing. So the next time you ponder where you came from, whether it's from stardust or sacred breath, remember this. The answers may not be in choosing one story over another, but in daring to explore where both stories might intertwine. The missing link might just be us. Subscribe before darkness becomes your teacher. Even in shadows, God still sees.